Hi, how are you? All right, so this week I'm going to be introducing the topic, and we decided to talk about self-love / self-care. And one reason that I wanted to talk about it is because a lot of times, especially in my case, we don't know the difference between loving yourself and being selfish, or a lot of times we put ourselves on the back burner because we're so into helping this person, being a good person, being that we don't see it as taking care of yourself is a good thing too. At least I don't. So this past year I've been learning how to do that and break down the barrier between thinking taking care of myself is being selfish and actually taking care of myself and knowing that that's okay. It's not selfish at all. So it's funny because it's very easy for me to help or tell other people how to take care of themselves, but I can't do it for myself. And with that, I wanted both me and Kaylyn to talk about what we define self-love care as for ourselves, and then how we do that. So since I'm already talking, I'll start. She's not gonna start first. But for me, I spent a very long time trying to learn how to take care of myself, 25 years and counting. And for me, it was really hard because for a very long time I put myself behind because I thought it was the right thing to do. I made sure that I helped take care of my younger siblings, that I was there helping take care of my grandfather, being there for my mom, going and finishing school because that's what was expected of me and that was going to help everybody else, and neglected to help myself when I was going through really, really bad depression. A lot of people don't know how bad my depression had gotten when I was in college. It was really, really bad. I cried a lot. And although I do attribute some of it to like self-determination and wanting to finish, a lot of it wasn't for me. And so I had grown up with someone telling me that some of my decisions were conceited, and I didn't want to be seen it because at first I didn't know what conceited meant, but it sounded bad. So then of course I looked it up because I'm a nerd, and I didn't like it, and I was like, I don't want somebody to think I'm conceited. I want to be a good person. So I was like, okay, I can't think about myself. And so I took that and ran with it, and I put so much effort into not thinking about myself that it just became a norm for me. It was like, no, I can't want this because that would be selfish for me to want that, but it's okay for everybody else to have it. I can't do this or decide that this is what I want because that wouldn't be fair to everybody else. It was so bad that Kaylyn would ask me, what do you want to eat? And I'd be like, I don't know, what do you want to eat? And so it has taken me a long time trying to navigate past that. And I guess just for a definition for me it's learning to stand up for myself, as well as knowing that it's okay to have breaks. It's okay to treat yourself. And it's not selfish to do that. You're just rewarding yourself for being a good person or for whatever it is. Everybody deserves it. Even the worst people deserve it. But the worst people make sure they have it. And that's what helps them excel. And so it's okay for me to have that, and I don't have to feel guilty. And for a long time, I felt guilty. I remember telling Kaylyn, I forgot about this. I remember telling Kaylyn over the summer, her parents have a pool, and we were in the pool and stuff like that, and afterwards we have deep discussions randomly all the time, And we were sitting, and I was just like, I feel so bad. And I was like, I just feel so bad that I feel like I'm basically living a life, like a more carefree life. And I'm not worried about my siblings, you know, or I'm not, my siblings aren't here with me to enjoy the same way that I am. And I feel bad about that. I feel guilty. And she's like, why don't you feel that you deserve that though? Why don't you feel that you deserve that type of peace? Because for a long time, I wasn't living in any type of peace at all. It was very toxic where I was. So, I had to start relearning myself and detaching myself from Khairah that helps take care of her family to Khairah that takes care of herself but also still loves her family, and that's okay. And that's hard. And so sometimes it'll be me telling myself, or having Kaylyn and her mom sometimes too, telling me that it's okay to want to go and buy this purple sweater even though I have a million sweaters and I don't need it. Or it's okay for me to splurge and buy extra food or buy a new belly ring or something like that and not feel guilty about it, because why not? You know, I deserve it. I just didn't think I did. And so I'm getting to the point where I'm able to buy stuff and be like, it's okay. I don't need to just always keep thinking about, oh, you need to save this. Oh, no, you can't have this because you don't need it. Well, what about because I want it, you know? And one thing that kind of hit me pretty hard was when my oldest brother, he called me on New Year's, and he was like, asked me how I was doing or whatever. And I was drinking or whatever, and it was fun. And I was like, yeah, I had fun. And he was like, good, you deserve it. And although I hear people telling me, yes, you deserve a break, you deserve to treat yourself, it was hearing someone confirm that it was okay doing what I was already doing, if that makes sense. It's kind of weird, but in my mind, I need that confirmation that this is okay, and it's probably specifically from him, because he has known of everything that I've gone through, to be like, good, you deserve that, have fun. And I was like, okay, all right, maybe you're right. So that is what that is for me. So it's not necessarily just materialistic things, but that's the biggest one, and that was the biggest one that I held myself back from, because I felt that if I didn't need it, I didn't need to get it. So in turn, doing that, I was denying myself pleasure, which was putting me in a more depressive mood. I mean, just to be honest. And I'm not a very materialistic person, don't get me wrong, but I was just not myself, just little stuff. I love to read, and I was stopping myself from buying a book. That's one of the hardest things to stop me from buying. But if you ask anybody, I have super bad buyer's remorse, and I will avoid doing stuff. But then spending extra long time in the shower, you can ask Kaylyn that most of the time I'm in and out. And because I'm trying to be conscious of, oh, I don't want to waste too much water, I don't want to do this, as opposed to taking an hour-long shower just because it feels good and everybody else doing it, you know. Or not feeling guilty about the fact that I like to sit in the dark. I love to sit in the dark, sit to myself, and sometimes, most of the time, pace the floor. And some people think that it's weird and made me feel guilty about me personally needing that. And although I couldn't stop myself from doing it, I would sometimes limit myself in the time that I really wanted to do it, or feel bad while I'm doing it because I'm like, oh, I'm disturbing somebody else. And now I've gotten to the point where I don't really think about that much. And so I think that's me starting to love myself. And then now when I look in the mirror, I don't necessarily always see my imperfections, because I'm feeding into all the other stuff that myself needs and that myself wants. And I'm not critiquing all the time. Everything that I see, I look at myself and I like what I see. I think that that person is pretty. I had a big issue sometimes where I was dejecting or separating myself from the person that I saw in the mirror and be like, that person looks like that and that's pretty, but that's not me, you know. And then sometimes I would look in the mirror and I would just think I was so ugly. And that comes from like the inside. When you don't take care of yourself, you don't love yourself. So then you personify that, and then you look in the mirror and you don't see anything that you like. I didn't even realize that until I said it just now. Damn, that's fucked up. So I think that's pretty much it for me. I'm still learning. I'm still working on it. But I think I'm getting better.
I chose to be quiet this time because sometimes when Khairah and I have our deep discussions, I find that when I talk about stuff out loud, it helps me think about it because I'm thinking about it before I say it, and then as I'm saying it, so that's twice, and that just helps me think about shit. It's a good technique, and that's what I tend to want to do for self-care. I want to figure shit out. So, my worst moment was also when I was in college, but I was in there, like, mine was detrimental. Like, I had to leave. I was only 2 years in, well, I wasn't even in the full second year, and I did my first semester the second year and was like, went back for winter and tanked it. I don't know what it was. I realized I wasn't getting out of bed. I mentioned this in a previous episode. Stopped getting out of bed, wasn't going to class. I would wake up right when I was supposed to be in class, and then I would feel bad. Then I would think about all the effort it would take to get there, and then maybe be late and not get credit. And then that would make me feel even worse because I don't want to spend all that time to get dressed and then barely get there. So I would just miss class. I would go back to sleep, wake up, miss all the rest of my classes for the day, and I felt bad. And I didn't like feeling like that, but I also didn't, like, that just made me feel worse, but I didn't know why I was feeling, like, low in the first place. And then I was like, fuck it, let me at least take a shower. And that snowballed into me driving all the way home. I live, like, 45 minutes away. I would drive there and back every day. I started smoking with my friends out here, so I was smoking every day. And, I stopped going to class. And then eventually, I think I ended up telling my parents. And I don't know... It was, like, really at the end of the semester. I think they'd asked me about my grades, and I was like, I haven't been going. Like, I'm sorry. It was really already late in the year, and I forgot that. It was, like, let's say the school year ends in April. Like, you stop taking classes at the beginning of April because they give you midterms and finals and shit. I told them probably mid-March. Right, so it was late in the year. And I just stopped going in, like, fucking January. It had been a really long time. And, like, it wasn't like I stopped going to all of them at once. I just gradually stopped going to the ones that I hated the most. And, that was the worst I'd ever been in my life. And I didn't know why. I ended up going to see, like, 3 different therapists that year. I had one of them who was actually a psychiatrist who put me on antidepressants. And those made me angry, so I stopped taking them. Like, my mom will tell you, Tom's friend Chris... He she won't tell you this part. He's kind of an instigator and he likes to push people's buttons. He also likes to argue and never admit that he's wrong. And that's fine, but then I've told people I like to argue. So there's that about me. I also, it's not that I don't want to be wrong, but I feel like if you're going to argue and say that you're not wrong, your facts have to be better than mine. It can't just be your emotions. Anyway, point of this was, we're in fucking Florida on vacation. And this nigga is picking at me the whole trip. So I'm going off on his dumb ass. And I'm supposed to be enjoying myself. And I, like, you know, there's also other factors in play. Like, I hadn't smoked the whole time. And at that point, I was smoking daily. So I was, like, not withdrawals, but, like, whatever that actually is. So I was going off. Like, unprovoked, 0 to 100. And then I got back home. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to take these anymore. Have never gotten that angry since. I think that... Yeah, because when I was feeling like it was, like, I definitely did not feel sad. And it was funny because I actually saw my ex at the time, maybe like a week into taking them. And normally I thought I would look at him and like burst into tears or whatever. And I just stared at him and I was like, fuck. and then went and got some fruit. It was fine. Like, I didn't cry or nothing like that. Anyway, this is so off topic. But yeah, so I was on antidepressants for like maybe about 2 months in 2017, and then, wait. Ooh, I'm actually not remembering the timeline well. Anyway, that doesn't matter. But point was, I was on antidepressants for a while. I didn't like that. Stopped doing it. But then, I think I was just out here doing life shit when my therapist left and she moved from Southfield to fucking Waterford. And I'm not going to drive that far. That's like 40 minutes on a good day, not including traffic. And I was working and like going to school and shit like that around like various different times. So I didn't have time to go there after 5 p.m. I didn't even want to go to Unity on campus, and I actually liked those people. Not that I didn't like my therapist, but that's a lot to do for an hour appointment. Anyway, stopped going, so I was like, I had to figure out shit to do for myself. Because she was having me meditate. I forgot. I wanted to say that. So she was having me meditate. She would clip this heart monitor thing to my ear, so it would monitor my heart rate. And, she would... I'm sorry. No, it's okay. But yeah, so she would have me just, so if it was in the red, basically your heart rate was too high. Blue was like, yeah, you're good, you're fine, but you could do better. And then green was like, yeah, you're doing great. But I never really saw when I was at the green because I was in it. My eyes were closed, you know what I'm saying? I was just meditating, which is why I'm good at it. Yeah, because Khairah and I have talked about that before. She thinks I'm better at meditating just because people kept forcing me to do it.
I'm terrible at meditating.
That's because nobody's forced you to do it. Like, literally every meeting I had with her, she was like, okay, last 10 minutes, I'm going to clip this shit to your ear, let's go. And I was like, okay. Like, eventually I got into it because I was feeling better and shit like that. But like I said, she left. And I think around that time was when I started going to massage school. And they also had me meditating for like 10-minute segments, which was pretty... I think 10 minutes is a good amount of time if you don't feel like you want to do like a whole 30 minutes, hour. Like, that's so much time. I had a teacher tell me he meditated like for 9 hours straight. Could be me. Don't have the attention span. Don't even want to try. Like, I would be uncomfortably fidgety, after just 30 minutes. Anyway, again,
I can barely do 10.
10 is I feel like a good... You can even do 10-minute segments throughout the day once you get up to that, and that would still be better than sitting and doing all 9 hours. I would rather do 10 minutes every hour than do 9 hours in a row. That would suck so hard. Anyway, yeah, so I started meditating basically, not even by choice. I don't really meditate on my own like that. I can probably do about 5 minutes before I, cannot sit still. And that's a whole other thing. I might be getting ADD testing soon, so keep an eye out for that. I might make an episode. Anyway, yeah, so I started meditating a lot. I got really into spirituality and shit like that. And part of what I realized was that I was having a lot of issues because, like Khairah said, I kind of felt disconnected from myself, but more in the sense that I didn't know who I wanted to be, because you know who you are or whatever, but I didn't like being that person. And there's nothing wrong with me or whatever. I had a lot of people in high school tell me I was bossy and shit like that. I am, but it was literally as a joke, every so often, you know what I mean? It wasn't a consistent part of my personality, but I took it too seriously. A bunch of shit like that. But getting into astrology, it was kind of Leos tend to have a leadership quality, blah, blah, blah. So I'm see, I wasn't being bossy. I was being a Leo. And, I've heard a lot of people on Twitter say, oh, you're just using it to scapegoat negative traits about yourself and blah, blah, blah. It's not that. It's more okay, if I know that this is something that I'm prone to do and I don't particularly like it, now I can, quote-unquote, have a reason for it. I can work on adjusting it. You know what I'm saying? So I can say, instead of Leos are bossy or whatever, I can say I have leadership qualities. You know what I'm getting? Shit like that. And then
take the negative connotation out of it, basically.
Yeah. And then it's still the same thing. It's still got the same principles behind it or whatever, but it's it just makes certain things easier. I remember this was something really recent, last 2 years, year and a half. I don't know, because 2020 was really long. I don't remember a whole lot of that, to be perfectly honest with you. Can't believe it's January. Woo woo. But anyway, really recently, I had someone reading my chart kind of, and we talked about this before, first episode, but my sun is in Leo and my moon is in Virgo. And those are two completely opposing sides to the point where people like, I don't even think it was someone, so it was probably someone on Twitter who was just describing like, oh, if you got those, you're fucked, you know, that kind of shit. And I was like, well, that explains a lot. It's like having your brain be like, jump up on that table, but then you're in the back of your head, but like, what if you break your ankle? What if you fall? You know what I'm saying? But all the time for everything.
That's my life.
Yeah, and I know that's also a trait with people that have anxiety in general and shit like that, but it's more like it bleeds into stuff like, I can't pick a career path because I could be up there all in your face or whatever, but I would much prefer to be alone in my room all the time. You know what I'm saying? That kind of shit. And I feel like that's not a great example. I feel like that doesn't translate well for what I'm actually feeling, but the point gets across. The feeling doesn't, but the point does. Yeah. Anyway, I tend to do more of like, okay, what does this mean? How else can I rephrase this type shit for self-care? Because I don't want to forget why I was doing something in the first place, because then I'll end up doing it again. That was a lot.
It was fine. Like, okay, but what do you do now? Or what is your definition of self-care, and what do you do to make sure that you have it?
Self-care or self-love, first of all? Let me see.
Okay, well, self-care can bleed into self-love. I feel like when you perform self-care, then you are self-loving.
That's interesting. I think we disagree on that, but that's a good thing. I feel like self-care fosters self-loving, but not like, it's like taking, like, the self-love itself is the test where you did well and you did the thing or whatever, but then self-care is where you were at home constantly doing it. You don't necessarily like it, but you're still doing it.
Okay, well, in that case, and that's interesting because we do disagree, because I said something completely different.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, I really want us to say what our each separate definitions are. But what is like your specific definition of self-love, and how are you loving yourself?
How am I loving myself? I don't think I am, but only because I haven't really felt a need to. Again, I feel like, I don't know why, this is probably something I need to work on now that I'm saying it, but I feel like self-love has to be grand gestures. You know what I mean? Like, I want to do a self-spa day or something like that. Or, like, I want, I don't know, crab legs on my birthday. You know, some shit like that. Something, but
Indulgent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But that's why it has to be special occasions. I don't feel like it's healthy to indulge all the time. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So,
says the person who makes me do.
Hey, but that's not indulgence. You're literally dipping your toe in the water. Like, should I put my whole foot in? I'm not asking you to cannonball. I'm just saying. Yeah, that's also a good example because she learned how to swim this summer. Woo-hoo.
I'm still learning, but yes, she taught me.
Yeah, anyway, so I feel like whenever I do that, I'm like going in up to the belly button every time, and that's not healthy. I don't want to just dip a toe, so I'm gonna either go feet in or up to my belly button. Those are the only options.
Okay.
I'm gonna try not to go in like cannonball, fully submerged. That would be bad. But yeah, so I like, and then again, I guess that could be a negative, quote-unquote, Leo trait, where I want to indulge.
I hate that specifically because there's such negative connotations that go with it. I think it's funny that people define you as being bossy because people tell me all the time that I'm bossy. So I don't see it as negative trait. I think they see it as negative because they wish they could do what you're doing, and so then they're personifying their insecurities on you because they feel intimidated. But that's their problem.
I was gonna say, but still, when I was like, I guess sometimes I feel like my brain doesn't make normal, like, rational connections because that shit did not occur to me. Like, and not even just like it seemed like it did for other people, you know what I'm saying? Small shit like that where it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I don't have those kind of moments a lot of the time. I'm feeling like I'm stupid. I'm gonna cut that out. Listen, I don't think I'm stupid per se, but I definitely feel like there's something getting in the way of my brain. Shameless plug, identity testing again. No.
And that was a joke. Please stop. So she's not redacted.
No, my SpongeBob. My brain feels like that episode of SpongeBob where he's the perfect waiter and he's like, empty out your head of anything but this. Okay. And then he couldn't remember his name. Yeah, shit's burning in there.
Okay. So here's like my thing, like kind of getting back on topic. It's like as we said before, like I see self-care as an interest into self-love just because of like the things that I've gone through in my experiences. Because I wasn't taking care of myself and ergo not really loving myself, because I still struggle with self-esteem issues. Which is interesting because you said that I have high confidence, not self-esteem, which is interestingly different. Didn't think about that, but
and I would say that I have a high self-esteem but not high confidence.
Okay, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to talk about that some other time. But as far as like your definition of what self-love is, that's interesting because I felt like me doing the stuff to take care of myself was being overindulgent, which there's nothing wrong with being overindulgent or indulgent every once in a while, which is literally what you do. You're like, okay, I've done my deed, I've eaten my crab legs or for my birthday, or did this, so I'm good, move on to the next in the next few months, and for me it's like even just a little stuff is hard. So
we have different struggles.
But with that being said, and knowing what your definition of self-love is, what is your definition of self-care, and how do you do that?
I think that when my first year of college, I definitely had a few better moments that year than the second year, but one of them was just sitting down. I don't know, I think my church mentor guy was trying to get us to use gratitude journals, and I never actually got, because he bought like specific journals for that. I never got one, but he kept bringing it up and he kept getting irritated that we weren't doing it. Yeah, I thought that was funny. But something made me just want to try that, and I remember writing shit down like, I'm grateful for a cup of hot chocolate, or like the fact that my pillows are soft and blah blah blah. So that kind of shit, like it really changed my mindset about what kind of stuff I was appreciating, and I haven't done that in a while with that pure ass new intention to it, because that was just such a wild ass experience. And I remember putting hot chocolate down specifically because then after that I was in class and I was like, was that stupid? You know what I mean? Was that like a dumb thing to pick hot chocolate to be grateful for? I didn't even put like my family and shit like that at the time. I wasn't super grateful for them, so that's hand slap for that, I guess. But shit was kind of chaotic
goes
back
through their
then.
stages, so yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Shit was chaotic back then, so I wasn't super grateful for them, but I was grateful for that cup of hot chocolate. And
I mean, I feel like with that you have to start somewhere. So
yeah, that's the point overall. That helped. Okay. I don't remember how I phrased it a couple minutes ago, but like literally changing the way I think about shit, or rephrasing the context behind things is how I prefer to do self-care. And like, there's also because I feel like, okay, if I do the self-care, then I can do the indulgent stuff and not get lost in the sauce.
Okay. I don't know what lost in the sauce means.
I'm so glad you admitted that. That's great. I caught her. No, but no. I wanted to get that on audio because then I'm going to start calling her Oba-chan.
Oh, God.
She's an old lady. Oba-chan.
It's fair. I am an old lady.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Go ahead.
But yeah, so lost in the sauce. Have you ever heard the phrase, even a bee can drown in honey?
No.
Okay, well, think about the visual of that. Like, you made that. And technically, it is.
Oh,
you're
okay.
just lost in the sauce.
Okay,
yeah.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of something that maybe my grandfather would say that would be the equivalent of that. Nope, I can't.
Okay, I'm gonna put the Jeopardy noise.
But I will say, when there's other stuff that comes up, there will be phrases that you may not understand that I grew up with. That I will say, like, till the cows come home.
Everybody's heard that one.
Or no, but I've had people when I say, if you believe that, you'll buy this watch. Usually I'm not wearing one, but people don't understand when I say certain things, and I'm like, okay.
But yeah, so oh shit, what the fuck are we talking?
We were talking about self-care, but I did want to mention something else that I do as far as self-care, self-love, because that's almost the same thing for me. Is that and Kaylyn has helped me with that, getting back into writing. And I think I mentioned it the last one or something, maybe. But I had really gotten out of writing because I was kind of basically hating on myself so much that I kind of forgot that I like to read. Well, not that I like to read, but even I wasn't even reading. And everybody who knows me knows that's just like my whole being. That's it. Khairah, she's a reader. And I wasn't reading. I wasn't writing. I hadn't written in years. And I was like, I need to get back into it. So that was that. But go ahead. You were finished telling us about what?
I have no idea.
For you, you said the way that you self-care is rethinking your narrative on how you interpret stuff.
Yeah, on however the situation is framed. I feel like for me, it's very situational. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything. I don't remember where I was going with that. But
That's fine.
yeah. There was something I just wanted to say. Oh, I used to make a joke about if you wanted to, and I told her this when she first moved in with me, and she kind of like laughed it off. But I feel like I'm the best person to hang around if you want to raise your confidence, because I am the ultimate hype man. I'm not going to make it like it's super obvious. I'm not going to make it annoying.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And she's remembering it in the very back of her head now because I said it.
I'm trying to think, and it makes me feel bad that I would have like laughed it off, because that's rude.
No. It's because you devalued your own confidence that much. You get what I'm saying? You didn't think that was a possibility.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't about Okay. And it's funny because people always okay, I'm gonna hype myself up, but like, you know, if you're gonna be around me, you have to be at a certain energy level, and I will get you there if need be. You might crash and burn once you leave, but
okay, here, and I feel like here's a good thing to say is like, it's not necessarily that she's going to get you there. You already have to have it existing. She's just gonna unlock it, like open the door, because one, getting you there is not her job. But oh, that makes me feel so bad. Oh man. But I can definitely say that she has helped me elevate my energy, and I'm probably not gonna she's not going anywhere, so there's that, but I won't crash and burn after it, because having good friends is also a form of like putting yourself in the best energy to self-care or self-love, however you see it. Kaylyn was it indispensable, irreplaceable for me as a friend. As a sister, she's literally just been like a real like pinpoint driving force in my life, and I don't think that I would have gotten to the place that I am now without having her there. And it's important to have good people around you that help hype you up when you need it, or you know, just help you like put yourself in check to get you to your highest potential. I haven't reached my highest potential yet, but I'm getting there. And yeah, that's what I want to say. You don't want to be around toxic people.
Yeah. Thanks for hyping me up for me.
See, we do that for each other. But she is a great hype man. I did want to say that.
Yeah, because part of I didn't realize a litlittle bit why until something you just said. I am gonna tell you the truth. So when I'm hyping you up, it's the truth.
She's not lying.
Because listen, there's been plenty of times where I'll be like, Khairah, I could be wrong about this. This is just my opinion, but blah, 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 blah. And then we'll have a whole talk about it.
She will read me, and she will like, she'll be like, you're not going to like it, but I'm going to tell you anyway. And like, it takes people like that and I hate saying people like that.
There's not too many people that are actually genuinely honest like that, because there's a whole bunch of people who are like, if you don't like people being blunt, but really they're saying shit like, I have an example. A friend in high school told me this. She was like, people keep seeing you messing with this boy and this boy. They kind of think you're a whore.
I think that's so fucking
stupid. First of all, that's tactless. Second of all, if you're gonna say some shit like that to me and you're not gonna tell me who so I can fight them, then I'm gonna assume it's coming from you.
Here's my thing, and everybody who knows me knows this about me. One, why do you feel comfortable enough to say something like that to me? Because, see, now I'm going to fight you because I'm very possessive.
Yeah.
I am. I will admit it. And I'm possessive and protective over my friends, my family, everything. Don't come to me with some bullshit. Don't say some shit like that to me. But then the nerve for me to say something like that to you, and the only reason that something like that will come up in a conversation would be like, look, I just got in a fight with this person. Or sometimes when I get really, really angry, I cry. And so you'd be like, why are you crying? Because they just made me so mad because this person just said this about you. That makes more sense to me.
That's a way different context to present it to somebody in, as opposed to saying, because again, I feel like that came from her herself. I would say to Khairah, hey, you're being a little too sloppy. You're being a little too obvious about things. Fair. Play the game differently. I would say it exactly like that. If you were fucking with two people and everybody knew, of course I would say something like that. You know what I mean? I would just say keep your business tighter. You know what I mean? But that's none of my business. I'm not going to say you look like a fucking whore. Because what kind of person says that to their friend? Even if I'm going to phrase it as if somebody else said it. But that's my point. That's the difference. There's a difference between being a rude bitch and being blunt. I am blunt. I'm not going to be rude to Khairah. And then she's even done shit with me like, hey, your deodorant's not working the best. She didn't say, ooh, bitch, you're musty.
Yeah, you stink.
No, and I know that a lot of people have those type of friendships or whatever, but for real, for me, I'm not that type of person. Don't fucking talk to me like that.
That's not my personality.
No, bro, and I might be sensitive as fuck for feeling like that, but don't you ever motherfucking talk to me like that and expect us to be friends.
I wouldn't just come up to you and just going off of that, just be like, hey, you stink. I'm just be like, and I said it the way I was like, look, I'm saying this out of love, I love you, but this may not be working. I'm still going to be honest.
Yeah.
And I'm a very honest person because I can't hold my tongue most of the time. That's why the girlfriend's a hoe. But, the only time you have to worry about something with me is if I don't say anything at all, because that means I don't like you. I'm trying to hold my tongue, and you might want to walk away before I snap.
Yeah, see, I'm not gonna let you have the chance to walk away. Anyway,
and that's the difference in where we are as far as our honesty. Like, we're both very honest. Don't ask a question that you don't want to answer to. If you think you're not gonna like the answer, because I'm gonna tell you the truth. I would probably find a nice way to tell you the truth, but I'm still gonna tell you the truth. And if I don't like you, I'm just not going to be bothered with you. So with that being said, like with Kaylyn as a person, I know that I can trust anything that she says to me because she doesn't lie. Most of the time. She'll lie about stupid shit. That's what I'm saying. She'll lie about stupid, like, little minuscule stuff, and then eventually she'll come back around and be like, yeah, I lied about it because I had this feeling about it or whatever, and then we'll talk that out. But but it's more so stuff about herself. If it's anything about you and how she is interacting or feel about you, she's not lying. She gonna tell you the truth. So whenever she tells me something, I know that she's not lying. I may be uncomfortable with the truth that she's telling me, regardless if it's a positive truth or not. But I know that she's not lying.
Yeah.
With that being said,
back to self-care and self-love and shit like that.
Venting is self-care, self-love, because we do it all the time.
I feel like there's a hard line for that too, because if you get too far into gossiping and shit, then you're going down the road. I said everything venting. In moderation. No, I feel like it's the same shit. I'm kind of gossiping. Like, for real, I don't get any emotional release from talking about it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel like that's what also, I have gotten out of the habit of it, but I like to ask people, can I vent or not? You know what I'm saying? Do you have the space for that? For me, sometimes it's just the attention span. It's not that I don't care, but like sometimes I cannot focus on the conversation. Again, shameless plug, ADD testing, but everybody just doesn't have the wherewithal to be considerate, and I think that's fair. You know what I mean? That's part of being an adult. I think that's why that's what I wanted to say. I don't know if I brought this up out loud at all, but I had a lot of people talking about how, like, oh, I don't like being friends with other girls because girls, it's hard, and like, blah, blah, blah. And like, no, like, I get it, because I had to step back and take a look at my own behavior and realize, like, oh, I do the same shit that kind of pisses me off from other people, but like, why am I doing it? You know what I'm saying? I have to think about why I was doing it, and not just, oh, like, we're all girls. No, niggas are emotionally baggaged, you know, trauma and shit like that.
Yeah.
Niggas got shit to work out. I had somebody at work tell me her entire life story about how her and her boyfriend just broke up and blah, 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 blah. And then she's like, yeah, but I don't like being friends with girls. I'm like, girl, you got so much shit going on, and you probably hanging around other people. Like, people hang out with people that have similar issues going on. There's nothing wrong with that, especially if you're healing through it together. But like, when you're not, then you're just gossiping.
Yeah. And I think that's my because see, I don't know venting as anything different, like, because, you know, you will specifically ask me, hey, can I vent real quick, or thank you for letting me vent. So, and then I come in, like, I vent to you about stuff, and I don't know, maybe I don't think I asked you, so I think I need to be more conscious about that. I'm a bad friend.
No, see, like, everybody's got their strengths and weaknesses, and I don't think we should try to be the same type of friend.
Well, no, because I don't think regardless we would ever be the same type of friend. We're the type of friend that each other needs. Sure. And we're just good people, so there's that. But,
I'm God.
She's God. Anyway, but, like, I will come and vent to you, but I don't, like, sometimes I do get into gossiping, especially if I'm talking about, like, stuff with, like, my sister or something like that. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, or like if I'm talking about like guy stuff, but that's normal. But for the most part, like, I don't like or like feeding into gossip. Like, that's just too much for me.
You know, gossip, that's something different, and it's usually, like you said, it's closer to home when you do it. But like, I'm talking about, like, technically we just gossip just now because, again, I didn't get an emotional release out of talking about friends from high school or whatever.
Right.
I feel like that's gossiping, but not all gossiping is bad. It's just, I don't want to, like, my mom, bro, she will be down there on her Zoom call screaming at the computer. Everybody in the house can hear her and her friends. So-and-so did what? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then it's mostly just like, oh yeah, that shit hurt my feelings, blah, 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 blah. Like, no, you brought it up to gossip. You brought it up specifically to get a reaction out of other people. That's what it is.
Okay,
that's
that
what I don't
sense.
fucking like. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I can't really do that. Now, I can't deny that I haven't ever done it. Yes, but I don't particularly care for it, so I don't do it all. You know, I don't.
I mean, there's stuff to gossip about, but doing that shit all the time is fucking dead.
That's just not my type of thing. And but with that being said, like, we vent about stuff too. Like, that's what I wanted to say. You said when you're growing, being around people that are going through similar things, so you both can grow past it, as opposed to staying at the same level so you can both sit and be miserable. Misery likes company. Unfortunately, I don't like misery to be my company, so I try to avoid it.
But yeah,
I think that's all there is need to be talked about. If we ever feel the need to talk about it again, we'll just make another episode. So
I want to start a series of stuff, like kind of like, let's talk about zodiac placements. We're gonna make that a more regular thing, and we didn't really discuss the titles or whatever, but I kind of decided we'll just make it 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. I wanted to do like a learning to cope series because Khairah said she wanted to talk about grief.
Okay.
I am highly anticipating getting some sort of diagnosis back from this testing.
Okay.
Could be autistic, that's my other guess, but either way, something's gonna happen. So yeah, I want to do that as an episode. Then we also want to talk about relationships, kind of in 3 parts if we're being honest. But
to be honest, it may end up being longer than that because we're trying to cut down time.
True. I think there's going to be a lot more cut out of this episode than it looks like, just because all the
Yeah.
Redacted. Yes. Anyway, also, I think I want more people to join the Discord specifically so I can play Among Us.
Shameless plug.
No, we can't plug Among Us.
Well, shameless plug on the Discord.
Yeah. Okay. Backtracking. I see my brain was in the wrong spot. But yeah.
Or I could just be moving too slow.
I doubt it. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna start doing a bunch of stuff. We got a whole year to do this time. I'm pretty excited because I decided we're gonna break the season. Well, we mutually decided. I just had the initial idea and then we worked out the details. Right, I'm God. I come up with shit. But so we're gonna break the podcast up by seasons by 6 months. Mm-hmm. So in June we'll be about 25 episodes in, and
yeah. And at some point these will be video recorded instead of just voice recorded. So you get to see our faces. We're pretty.
We're gorgeous. And you'll get to see us talk about a whole host of other dumb shit. Like, I've never really done a full face of makeup before, so I'm going to make a fool of myself doing that. I think that would be great, because I'm going to be super blunt the whole time. Oh, sarcastic, though. I'm going to be super sarcastic. Yeah.
I think that's going to be fun. And I'm just going to... Am I going to be a part of that one?
Only if you feel like it. See, that's another thing. We might end up separating mediums at some point, but we'll see how that goes.
Yep.
Anyway, I think that's enough filler. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Kaylyn was here _ for both of them, and then Khairah.
I have only Instagram, but for now, Kaylyn is gonna make me a Twitter. I have put that on her, so that's to be determined. But for me, Instagram is Khairah _is_ here, and yeah.
Oh, I think I want to talk about news at some point.
That would be fun. Well, the inauguration is coming up. This would be the perfect time to start.
Good. We can bring Tom back for that.
That's going to be interesting.
Alright. Okay, but that's going to wrap things up for today, ladies and gentlemen. The 3 of you who are listening.
Thank you.
Much love. Join the Discord so we can talk. Anyway.
Khairah is here.
Kaylyn was here. And thanks for listening.
Bye.
Hey, you got it this time.
I almost forgot.